Hello there.
Can you pack up the campsite?
Ugh, gonna need to re-stitch that seam when we camp tonight. Won't be holding if we get bad weather.
You're the harbinger of the companions. It is my honor.
There's a nip in the air. Cold won't be good for my crops. Never is.
Bits and baubles for sale. All crafted by the best blacksmith in Skyrim.
Come on in. Just stoke the fire. Take a seat and get the cold out.
Any news of the Alakir?
The Alaka won't trouble you anymore.
At last. I can rest safely. You have done me a great service, warrior. I cannot thank you enough. Take this reward. I managed to sneak some of my wealth out of Hammerfell when I left. It's the least I can do. For now, I will maintain my ruse here. You are always welcome in the Bannered Mare. Until next time.
It's a fine day with you around.
I found this note on Ulag's body.
Did you? So Ulag didn't make it past those giants then. More's the pity. If you found any of the sap, I'd be willing to pay you the same cut I offered him. Better price than you are likely to find otherwise. Farewell.
What do you need?
How do you feel about me?
Something is happening between you and me, and I don't think I want it to stop.
About the other night?
That night's still on your mind. I won't be forgetting it anytime soon.
So, is this going to be happening again?
I think it'd be a crime against Bella if it didn't. You make the blood burn in my veins. Is this something you want to happen again?
I'd like having you in my bed. I could have you right now.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Fear not. Come dragon or giant, we'll be ready.
On your way up the 7,000 steps again, Clint?
Not today. I'm just not ready to make the climb to High Hrothgar. The path isn't safe.
Aren't the Greybeards expecting some supplies?
Honestly, I'm not certain. I've yet to be allowed into the monastery. Perhaps one day. Passing through on your way to High Hrothgar? About to make a delivery up there myself.
What types of deliveries do you make to High Hrothgar?
Mostly food supplies like dried fish and salted meats. You know, things that keep fresh for a long time. The Greybeards tend not to get out much, if you catch my meaning.
And in return?
Well, it's kind of an understanding between us. I mean, it just wouldn't feel right to charge them for a bit of preserved food. Trouble is, my legs aren't what they used to be, and climbing the 7,000 steps takes its toll.
I could do it for you.
Really? Well, that would be kind of you. Here, take this bag of supplies. At the top of the steps, you'll see the offering chest. Just leave the bag inside, and you're done. Be careful up there.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
We should look for game while we're out here.
Good dog.
What a lot of steps. To think we have to bloody go back down them later. Oh, at least there's an inn with a nice sail waiting for me below.
Let's stop here a minute. Are you alright?
Yes, that was a lot of steps though. Taking a break is a good idea.
Aye. That wasn't why I wanted to stop. I just wanted to see if you were okay. I know it must seem rather intimidating to be here. The first in so long to actually go inside High Hrothgar.
I am a little nervous. I don't really understand what this all means for me.
Take a moment and just breathe. We're in no rush here. Do you want me to wait outside here?
No, please, come in with me. I would feel better if you were there.
As you wish. Whenever you're ready, head inside, and I'll be right behind you.
So, a Dragonborn appears at this moment in the turning of the age.
You call me Dragonborn, what does that mean?
First, let us see if you truly are Dragonborn. Let us taste of your voice. Dragonborn, it is you. Welcome to High Hrothgar. I am Master Arngir. I speak for the Greybeards. Now, tell me, Dragonborn, why have you come here?
I want to find out what it means to be Dragonborn.
We are here to guide you in that pursuit, just as the Greybeards have sought to guide those of the dragon blood that came before you.
You mean I'm not the only Dragonborn?
You are not the first. There have been many of the dragon blood since Akatosh first bestowed that gift upon mortal kind. Whether you are the only Dragonborn of this age, that is not ours to know. You are the only one that has been revealed thus far. That is all I can say.
Who are you? What is this place?
We are the Greybeards, followers of the Way of the Voice. You stand in High Hrothgar, on the slopes of Kinarith's sacred mountain. Here we commune with the voice of the sky and strive to achieve balance between our inner and outer selves.
I'm ready to learn.
You have shown that you are Dragonborn. You have the inborn gift. But do you have the discipline and temperament to follow the path laid out for you? That remains to be seen. But Without training, you have already taken the first steps towards projecting your voice into a thum, a shout. Now let us see if you are willing and able to learn. When you shout, you speak in the language of dragons. Thus, your dragon blood gives you an inborn ability to learn words of power. All shouts are made up of 3 words of power. As you master each word, your shout will become progressively stronger. Master Einarth will now teach you Ro, the second word in Unrelenting Force. Ro means balance in the dragon tongue. Combine it with Fus, force, to focus your thumb more sharply. Ro. You learn a new word like a master. You truly do have the gift. But learning a word of power is only the first step. You must unlock its meaning through constant practice in order to use it in a shout. Well, that is how the rest of us learn shouts. As Dragonborn, you can absorb a slain dragon's life force and knowledge directly. As part of your initiation, Master Einarth will allow you to tap into his understanding of Ro. Now, let us see how quickly you can master your new thum. Use your unrelenting force shout to strike the targets as they appear.
Losa! Fus! Ro!
Well done. Again.
Losa! Fus! Ro!
You learn quickly. Once more.
Losa! Fus! Ro!
Impressive. Your thumb is precise. You show great promise, Dragonborn. We will perform your next trial in the courtyard. Follow Master Boy. We will now see how you learn a completely new shout. Master Bori will teach you Wuld, which means whirlwind. Wuld. You must hear the word within yourself before you can project it into a thum. Approach Master Bori and he will gift you his knowledge of Wuld. Now we will see how quickly you can master a new shout. Master Wulfgar will demonstrate Whirlwind Sprint. Then it will be your turn. Master Bori? Vex! Wulf! Now it's your turn. Stand next to me. Master Bori will open the gate. Use your whirlwind sprint to pass through before it closes. Your quick mastery of a new Thuum is astonishing. I'd heard the stories of the abilities of Dragonborn, but to see it for myself...
Thank you. What's next?
You are now ready for your last trial. Retrieve the horn of Jürgen Windcaller, our founder, from his tomb in the ancient fane of Ostengrav. Remain true to the way of the voice, and you will return.
Why are the dragons returning? Does it have something to do with me?
No doubt, the appearance of a Dragonborn at this time is not an accident. Your destiny is surely bound up with the return of the dragons. You should focus on honing your voice, and soon your path will be made clear.
Surely there's more you can tell me.
There is indeed much that we know that you do not. That does not mean that you are ready to understand it. Do not let your easy mastery of the voice tempt you into the arrogance of power. That has been the downfall of many Dragonborn before you.
What does it mean to be Dragonborn?
Dragons have the inborn ability to learn and project their voice. Dragons also are able to absorb the power of their slain brethren. A few mortals are born with similar abilities. Whether a gift or a curse has been a matter of debate down through the centuries. What you have already learned in a few days took even the most gifted of us years to achieve. Some believe that Dragonborn are sent into the world by the gods at times of great need. We will speak more of that later, when you are ready.
Why are shouts in the dragon language?
Dragons have always been able to shout. Language is intrinsic to their very being. There is no difference in the dragon tongue between debating and fighting. Shouting comes as naturally to a dragon as breathing or speaking. In mythic times, when mortal kind was in great need, the goddess Kynareth granted us the ability to speak as dragons do. For most people, long years of training are required to learn even the simplest shout. But for you, the dragon speech is in your blood, and you learn it almost without effort.
There are only 4 of you?
5. Our leader, Partanax, lives alone on the peak of the throat of the world. When your voice can open the path, you will know you are ready to speak to him.
Tell me about the Greybeards.
We study the way of the voice, according to the teachings of our founder, Jürgen Windcaller. Very few are permitted to study with us here at High Hrothgar. But in your case, Dragonborn, it is a privilege to guide you towards mastery of your voice.
Why don't the others talk?
Their voices are too powerful for anyone not trained in the way to withstand. Even a whisper could kill you.
What is the way of the voice?
The voice was a gift of the goddess Kynareth at the dawn of time. She gave mortals the ability to speak as dragons do. Although this gift has often been misused, the only true use of the voice is for the worship and glory of the gods. True mastery of the voice can only be achieved when your inner spirit is in harmony with your outward actions. In the contemplation of the sky, Kynareth's domain, and the practice of the voice, we strive to achieve this balance.
I will try to follow the way of the voice.
That is commendable. But remember, the dragon blood is itself a gift of Akatosh. Do not try to deny that gift. Your destiny requires you to use your voice. Why else would Akatosh have bestowed this power upon you? If you remember to use your voice in service to the purpose of Akatosh, you will remain true to the way.
Who was Jurgen Windcaller?
He was a great war leader of the ancient Nords, a master of the voice, or tongue. After the disaster at Red Mountain, where the Nord army was annihilated, he spent many years pondering the meaning of that terrible defeat. He finally came to realize that the gods had punished the Nords for their arrogant and blasphemous misuse of the voice. He was the first to understand that the voice should be used solely for the glory and worship of the gods, not the glory of men. Jurgen Windcaller's mastery of the voice eventually overcame all opposition, and the way of the voice was born. Sky above, voice within.
Everything all right? Looks like you need a hug and a kiss. Come here.
than just stuff for politicians and nobles.
Imperial business. Be on your way.
And so it begins. What a fight! Not all of the deities Meridia is actually considered to be quite benevolent towards us.
Look at my temple, lying in ruins. So much for the constancy of morals, their crafts, and their hearts. If they love me not, how can my love reach them?
It's anything that's dead.
Restore to me my beacon, that I might guide you toward your destiny. It is time for my splendor to return to Skyrim. But the token of my truth lies buried in the ruins of my once great temple, now tainted by a profane darkness skittering within. The necromancer Melkoran defiles my shrine with vile corruptions, trapping lost souls left in the wake of this war to do his bidding. Worse still, he uses the power stored within my own token to fuel his foul deeds. I have brought you here, mortal, to be my champion. You will enter my temple, retrieve my artifact, and destroy the Defiler.
Tell me more about this artifact.
Mortals call it Dawnbreaker, for it was forged in a holy light that breaks upon my foes, burning away corruption and false life. You will enter my shrine, destroy Melkoran, and retrieve this mighty blade.
I'll do it.
Good. Go, now. The artifact must be reclaimed and Melkoran destroyed. Melkoran has forced the doors shut, but this is my temple, and it responds to my decree. I will send down a ray of light. Guide this light through my temple, and its doors will open.
Really glad my dragon joined the companions. I couldn't have imagined what doing it would bring into my life. Now I can't imagine my life without it.
there's something near. Once again, now just 12 fuck. Go to hell. You hear that? Yes! They never learn.
It is done. The Defiler is defeated. Take Dawnbreaker from its pedestal. Malkoran is vanquished. Skyrim's dead shall remain at rest. This is as it should be, and this is because of you. A new day is dawning, and you shall be its herald. Take the mighty Dawnbreaker, and with it, purge corruption from the dark corners of the world. Wield it in my name, that my influence may grow.
I'll wield this mighty blade in your name.
May the light of certitude guide your efforts.
on Lycanthropy by Varnard Caressin. Studies of the nature and habits of lycanthropes. How does one become interested in studying the disease lycanthropy? I have interviewed a number of my peers and discovered that to a man they have all entered the field after a horrifying encounter with a lycanthrope of some variety. I am no exception. In Skyrim, it is an old tradition to rub canis root on the trees surrounding your house as a ward against werebears. When I was young and stupid, as opposed, I guess, to being old and stupid as I am now, I always had hoped to meet a werebear to see if they were as impressive as legend suggested. I would follow strange tracks into the woods until they disappeared, with no fear or even thought about what I would do after I had found my quarry. By Thorig's beard, I was lucky that my investigations were fruitless. When I did finally see a lycanthrope, it was not a werebear, it was a werewolf. A common lycanthrope, which can be found in every part of Tamriel. My father was a priest, and during the coldest part of the winter he allowed the beggars and riffraff of Falkrenth to stay in the relative warmth of the cellar of his temple. We would even supply warm barley stew. My sisters and brothers and I actually enjoyed this bit of philanthropy, for in the cellars during the winter it seemed there was a constant party. There were always travelers with interesting stories and eccentricities, and the atmosphere in the cellars was always light and friendly. Until that night. By an established tradition, the beggars who were sick or wanted rest more than food and companionship would go to the cots at the furthest, darkest end of the cellar, when they could be assured at least relative quiet. We were enjoying a song, and my sister Gethessa was dancing to the amusement of all. The song ended, but a chorus continued from the darkness at the far end of the cellar. As drunk and incomprehensible as most of the carolers were, it took a minute for us to realize that the sound we were hearing was not singing, but screaming. No one was too concerned, for some of the older tramps often suffered from vivid nightmares. Nevertheless, one of Father's priests went to silence the screamer, and the moment he disappeared into the murk, we heard another sound, the snarl of a wolf. Then we heard the priest screaming as the original scream died off. "Werewolf!" cried the old bard, who had been leading the song. The cellar exploded into chaos. I was pushed out of the cellar door into the snow with the first wave of panic, but I could see that some of the more brave, or more drunk, hobos were rushing into the darkness to do battle with the lycanthrope. They were all, of course, almost instantly killed. My father, upon hearing of his unwelcome visitor, sealed off the cellar after the last survivor of the carnage had left. A seasoned battle mage from the Falkrenth Mages Guild, who owed father a favor, went into the cellar and slew the beast. "Not too tough," he said as he emerged, carrying the carcass with him. Winter must have been tough on him, too. Despite his bold words, the blood on his face and chest did not only come from his foe. Werewolves do not revert to their human forms upon death, despite what legends will tell you. I had the opportunity to look at the monster's steaming body out in the snow before it was carried away to be burned. The teeth clotted with the flesh of the beggars was horrifying, but the claws shocked me even more. I have since seen live lycanthropes battle golems, atronachs, and other beings not harmed by mundane weapons, and concluded that they act as naturally enchanted weapons. Because the werewolf is the most ubiquitous of lycanthropes, the term lycanthropy has been used since ancient days to describe a disease that transforms men into half-beast, although lycanthrope only strictly should refer to men who change into werewolves. But that is semantics. There are certainly differences between the 7 documented forms of lycanthropy in Tamriel, but more similarities. In Black Marsh and southern Morrowind, were-crocodiles stalk the swamps. Black Marsh also shares with the Imperial Province and the wetter parts of elsewhere the vile presence of were-lions. Valenwood's were-vultures are not found in any other province. The were-boar has found both the climates of High Rock and Hammerfell amenable. As I mentioned before, the were-bear is the most common lycanthrope in Skyrim, and is also found in the northern parts of High Rock, the Imperial Province, and Morrowind. The werewolf can be found in every province. The 7th lycanthrope, which I have never seen, but my trusted peers have assured me exists, is a were-shark that roams the oceans around Tamriel. I have spent my life categorizing and observing lycanthropes, but I sometimes feel that I am still a child trapped in a cellar in my attempts to understand them. I know, for example, that lycanthropy can be cured shortly after infection, but after that time, the victim is doomed. No one of my acquaintance has cured themselves after undergoing the first transformation. On the other hand, I have a colleague investigating a coven of witches in the Glenpoint foothills of High Rock, who are rumored to have a cure. I remain dubious. Perhaps it is because they are doomed that makes lycanthropes so aggressive. I have removed the content of a werewolf's stomach and found more remnants of roots and berries than animal flesh. My conclusion is that they do not need to attack and devour humans to survive, yet for some reason they do. Does lycanthropy drive them mad, or do lycanthropes feel the need to spread the disease as a form of procreation? I do not know. I am not certain that any of us who are not lycanthropes ourselves will ever know. And then, of course, it's too late. Sour silence. The young bard sang all day, every day, throughout the nights, and without ever stopping, never showing lassitude, with all her heart, all her soul. Her crystalline voice carried throughout the galleries, the tunnels, and the wells where her compatriots had taken refuge. As the bard's snow-elven brothers and sisters were enslaved by the Dwemer, all she could do to bring them joy or a sense of freedom was to sing. The more they tried to oppress them, the louder she sang. The great college of the sub-curators became alarmed at the disorder, and it affected their projections of the 5-year plan to tender their guests. The Triptons did not align themselves according to the trigonotemporal diagram as expected, and their project was doomed to irreparable failure if they did not take drastic measures immediately. The sub-curator's chief assistant proposed to eliminate the bard, but the subcommittee in charge of the neuropsychological study of the immigrant populations objected, under pretext that a brutal killing would do nothing but reinforce pugnacity from the aforesaid population. A softer treatment, and ultimately a more demoralizing one, was finally voted upon by the Assembly, except for one member, having fallen asleep at the time of the 69th rereading of the circular endorsing the decision to seize the House of Representatives of the Legate of the Alchemists, determined to destroy the voice of the bard without touching her physical integrity. The bard was arrested and charged with public disorder. Then a specially concocted potion was administered to her, formulated according to an order of service signed by the second secretary-in-chief himself, which disabled her voice entirely. The effect was swift. The snow-elven resistance and spirit gradually diminished without the support of the song of the young bard. It is said that the young girl, being destroyed not only by the loss of her gold voice, but also by the resignation of her people, threw herself in a bottomless well. It is also said that the snow elves transformed themselves into the Falmer we know today, who lost the use of their voices, and it is mainly because of the fate that befell Sinaria, the gold-voiced bard. Scribbled note. Though an interesting story, it goes into far too much detail about the organizational arrangements of the Dwemer government to be taken seriously, as there are no additional texts that corroborate these details. Additionally, it is widely known that a fungal food source given to the snow-elven people eventually caused their blindness, so I will certainly be filing this in the fiction section.
A hypothetical treachery. Dramatis Personae, Malvasion, an Altmere battle mage. Inzalaya, a Dunmere battle mage. Dulcetus, a Cyrodiil healer. Shavas, an Argonian barbarian. A ghost, some bandits. Scene, Eldenwood. As the curtain rises, we see the misty, labyrinthian landscape of the legendary Elden Grove of Valenwood. All around we hear wolves howling. A bloodied reptilian figure, Shavas, breaks through the branches of one of the trees and surveys the area. "It's clear!" Inzalaya, a beautiful dark elf mage, climbs down from the tree, helped by the barbarian. There is the sound of footsteps nearby. Shavas readies his sword, and Inzalaya prepares to cast a spell. Nothing comes out. "You're bleeding. You should have Dulcetus heal that for you." "He's still drained from all the spells he had to cast down in the caves. I'm fine. If we get out of this, and no one needs it more, I'll take the last potion of healing. Where's Malvasion?" Malvasion, a high elf battle mage, and Dulcetus, a Cyrodiil healer, emerge from the tree, carrying a heavy chest between the two of them. They awkwardly try to get down from the tree, carrying their loot. Here I am, though why I'm carrying the heavy load is beyond me. I always thought that the advantage of dungeon delving with the great barbarian was that he carried all the loot. If I carried that, my hands would be too full to fight. Tell me if I'm wrong, but not one of the three of you has enough magicka reserve to make it out of here alive. Not after you electrified and blasted all those homunculuses down below ground. Homunculi. Don't worry, I'm not going to do what you think I'm going to do. What's that? Kill you all, and take the ebony mail for myself? Admit it, you thought I had that in mind. What a perfectly horrible thought. I never thought anyone, no matter how vile and degenerate, why not? He needs porters, like he said. He can't carry the chest and fight off the inhabitants of Eldengrove both. By Stendar, of all the mean, conniving, typically Argonian, and why do you need me alive? I don't, necessarily. Except that you're prettier than the other two. For a smooth skin, that is. And if something comes after us, it might go for you first. There is a noise in some bushes nearby. Go check that out. It's probably a wolf. These woods are filled with them. You check it out. You have a choice, Inzaliah. Go, and you might live. Stay here, you definitely won't. Inzaliah considers, and then goes to the bushes. The King of Sylvanar will pay good money for the mail. We can divide it more nicely between 3 than 4. You're so right. Inzaliah suddenly levitates up to the top of the stage. A semi-transparent ghost appears from the bush and rushes at the next person, who happens to be Shavas. As the barbarian screams and thrashes at it with his sword, it levels blasts of whirling gas at him. He crumbles to the ground. It turns next to Dulcetus, the healer, and as the ghost focuses its feasting chill on the hapless Dulcetus, Malvasion casts a ball of flame at it that causes it to vaporize into the misty air. Inzaliah floats back down to the ground as Malvasion examines the bodies of Dulcetus and Shavas, who are both white-faced from the draining power of the ghost. You had some magicka reserved after all. So did you. Are they dead? Malvasion takes the potion of healing from Dulcetus's pack. Yes, fortunately the potion of healing wasn't broken when he fell. Well, I guess this leaves just the two of us to collect the reward. We can't get out of this place without each other, like it or not. The two battle mages pick up the chest and begin plodding carefully through the undergrowth, pausing from time to time at the sound of footsteps or other eerie noises. Let me make sure I understand. You have a little bit of magicka left, so you elected to use it to make Shavas the ghost's target, forcing me to use most of my limited reserve to destroy the creature so I wouldn't be more powerful than you. That's first-rate thinking. Thank you. It's only logical. Do you have enough power to cast any other spell? Naturally. An experienced battle mage always knows a few minor but highly effective spells for just such a trial. I take it you too have a few tricks up your sleeve? Of course, like you said. They pause for a moment before continuing as a fearful wail pierces the air. When it dies away, they slowly trudge on. Just as an intellectual exercise, I wonder what spell you would cast at me if we made it out of here without any more combat. I hope you're not implying that I would dream of killing you, so I would keep the treasure all to myself. Of course not, nor would I do that to you. It is merely an intellectual exercise. Well, in that case, purely as an intellectual exercise, I would probably cast a leech spell on you, to take away your life force, and heal myself. After all, there are brigands on the road between here and Sylvanar, and a wounded battle mage with a valuable artifact would make a tempting target. I'd hate to survive Eldengrove merely to die in the open. That's a well-reasoned response. As for myself, again, not saying I would ever do this, but I think a simple, sudden electrical bolt would serve my purposes admirably. I agree about the danger of brigands, but don't forget, we also have a potion of healing. I could easily slay you and heal myself to full capacity. Very true. It would end up a question of whose spell was more effective at that instant. If our spells counteracted one another, and I leached your life energy only to be crippled by your lightning bolt, then we could both be killed. Or so near death that a mere potion of healing would scarcely help either one of us, let alone both. How ironic it would be if two scheming battle mages, not saying we are scheming, but for the purpose of this intellectual exercise, were left on the brink of death, completely drained of magicka, with one healing potion to choose from. Who would get it then? Logically, whoever drank it first, which in this case would be you since you're holy. Now, what if one of us were injured but not killed? Logic would dictate that a scheming battle mage would take the potion, leaving the injured party to the mercy of the elements, I suppose. That does seem most sensible. But suppose that the battle mages, while certainly scheming types, had a certain respect for one another. Perhaps in that case, the victorious one might, for instance, put the potion up a tree near his or her gravely wounded victim. Then, when the wounded party had enough magicka replenished, he or she would be able to levitate to the tree branches and recover the potion. By that time, the victorious battle mage would have already collected the reward. They pause for a moment at the sound of something in the bushes nearby. Carefully, they climb across the branches of a tree to bypass it. I understand what you're saying, but it seems out of character for our hypothetical scheming battle mage to allow his or her victim to live. Perhaps. But it's been my observation that most scheming battle mages enjoy the feeling of having bested someone in combat and having that person alive to live with the humiliation. These hypothetical scheming battle mages sound... Daylight, do you see it? The two scurry across the branch dropping behind a bush, so we can no longer see them. We can, however, see the shimmering halo of sunlight. We made it! Indeed. There is a sudden explosion of electrical energy, and a wild, howling aura of red light, and then silence. After a few moments' pause, we hear someone climbing up the tree. It is Malvasion, putting the potion high up in the bough. He chuckles as he climbs back down, and the curtain drops. Epilogue. The curtain rises on a road to Sylvanar. A gang of bandits have surrounded Malvasion, who is propped up on his staff, barely able to stand. They pull his chest away from him with ease. What have we got here? Don't you know it ain't safe to be out on the road all sick like you are? Why don't we help you with your load? Please, let me be. Go on, spellcaster, fight us for it! I can't. Too weak. Suddenly, Inzalaya flies in, casting lightning bolts from her fingers at the bandits, who quickly scramble away. She lands on the ground and picks up the chest. Malvasion collapses, dying. Hypothetically, what if a battle mage cast a spell on another which didn't harm him at once, but drained his life force and his magicka, bit by bit, so he wouldn't know at the time, but feel confident enough to leave the potion of healing behind? A most treacherous battle mage she'd be. And, hypothetically, would she be likely to help her fallen foe, so that she could enjoy the humiliation of him continuing to live? From my experience, hypothetically, no. She doesn't sound like a fool. As Inzalaya lugs the chest off towards Sylvanar, and Malvasion expires on the stage, we drop the curtain.
Biography of Queen Berenziah, Volume 1, by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. A factual biography of Queen Berenziah, Volume 1. Late in the Second Era, a girl-child, Berenziah, was born to the rulers of the kingdom of Mournhold in what is now the imperial province of Morrowind. She was reared in all the luxury and security befitting a royal dark elven child until she reached 5 years of age. At that time, His Excellency Tiber Septim I, the first Emperor of Tamriel, demanded that the decadent rulers of Morrowind yield to him and institute imperial reforms. Trusting to their vaunted magic, the Dark Elves impudently refused until Tiber Septim's army was on the borders. An armistice was hastily signed by the now eager Dunmer, but not before there were several battles, one of which laid waste to Mournhold, now called Almalexia. Little Princess Berenziah and her nurse were found amongst the wreckage. The Imperial General Symmachus, himself a Dark Elf, suggested to Tiber Septim that the child might someday be valuable, and she was therefore placed with a loyal supporter who had recently retired from the Imperial army. Sven Advinson had been granted the title of Count upon his retirement. His fiefdom, Darkmoor, was a small town in central Skyrim. Count Sven and his wife reared the princess as their own daughter, seeing to it that she was educated appropriately, and more importantly, that the imperial virtues of obedience, discretion, loyalty, and piety were instilled in the child. In short, she was made fit to take her place as a member of the new ruling class of Morrowind. The girl Berenziah grew in beauty, grace, and intelligence. She was sweet-tempered, a joy to her adoptive parents and their 5 young sons, who loved her as their elder sister. Other than her appearance, she differed from young girls of her class only in that she had a strong empathy for the woods and fields, and was wont to escape her household duties to wander there at times. Baranzaya was happy and content until her 16th year, when a wicked orphan stable boy, whom she had befriended out of pity, told her he had overheard a conspiracy between her guardian Count Sven and a Red Guard visitor to sell her as a concubine in Rehad, as no Nord or Breton would marry her on account of her black skin, and no Dark Elf would have her because of her foreign upbringing. "Whatever shall I do?" the poor girl said, weeping and trembling, for she had been brought up in innocence and trust, and it never occurred to her that her friend the stable boy would lie to her. The wicked boy, who was called Straw, said that she must run away if she valued her virtue, but that he would come with her as her protector. Sorrowfully, Baranzaya agreed to this plan, and that very night she disguised herself as a boy, and the pair escaped to the nearby city of Whiterun. After a few days there, they managed to get jobs as guards for a disreputable merchant caravan. The caravan was heading east by side roads in a mendacious attempt to elude the lawful tolls charged on the imperial highways. Thus, the pair eluded pursuit until they reached the city of Riften, where they ceased their travels for a time. They felt safe in Riften, close as it was to the Morrowind border, so that Dark Elves were enough of a common sight.
Are you good? Nothing's bothering you?
Septum for your thoughts, Kaidan?
I don't think you need to pay a single coin to figure out just where my thoughts are right now.
What do you mean?
Because there's only one thing I can think about after that, when you're this close to me.
Oh, and what might that be?
So many wicked thoughts about all the ways you could be closer. I swear you're driving me mad. Go on, tell me. I'm not the only one, am I?
Given how wicked my thoughts can get, it's a wonder we don't combust on the spot.
Good. Then perhaps your wicked thoughts and my wicked thoughts should get together, and we can create some all new wicked memories.
I don't know if my thoughts are wicked, but I can't stop thinking about you.
Judging by the way your cheeks are flushing, I think I'd like to find out for myself if I can live up to those thoughts of yours. One thing I do know for certain is that the reality of you in my arms will always be better than what I can imagine.
You alright there, lass?
Let's rest here.
Feels like it's the first time I've been able to relax all day.
What's on your mind?
Tell me about yourself.
Ask away.
Is there anything you want to tell me about yourself?
Oh, I don't know. Later on, perhaps. How are you? Are you feeling okay?
I'm going to get some rest.
You want some company?
You look tired too. Why not join me?
Well, this is intriguing me now.
Sleep wasn't what I was thinking of.
Come here. Let me show you all the ways I love you. Ah, it's nice to be warm again. I like it here.
Back off! Wait for Huh? Looking here, looks like you got yourself a hero.
That can't be good, can it?
Oh, no!
Bad scratch.
Mercy! Yeah.
You!
Must have been nothing.
Oi! Creep!
You're as good as dead.
Ah! God damn it. Enough is enough.
Heard
I received your letter.
I understand. Fight or die well.
Damn you! That's your best, huh?
Die! Rise victorious once again.
I love dogs. It's always nice to have one by your side. To hunt with and share your game and fire.
Nothing compares to the wilds of Skyrim. walk away alive when my blade is unsheathed.
Easy now. Let it settle if you need to. That one looked like it hit pretty hard. Lean on me if you need to. I've got one. Bro, let's do this. Fuck off. Yes! The way you look after a fight, all wild and so fucking alive. Gods, I'm gonna kiss you. Right the fuck now.
You know, I've come to enjoy your company on the road. The view is always finer from back here.
Closest. This one increases your luck again. Good archery and alchemy. Ah, shit. Sorry. Alchemy is important, I guess.
Keshit knows that smell. You are a colleague of Orient, no?
Yes, I see you arrived in style.
The airship. Ah, a fine prize in our growing victories against the Thalmor. We call her the Dev Aveza. Elsewhere has great troubles. During the First Dominion, Elsewhere was a protectorate of the Agniri Dominion. A reluctant ally, if you will. And now that the Dominion has risen once more, it seeks to bring Elsewhere under its thumb once again. There are those of us who would not have this. So Rakis happens upon this relic a number of years ago, brings it into his safekeeping, but word spread swiftly on the warm winds of Elsewhere.
I don't understand.
Impossible! Phew! That was close. You saved Rakis from that sneaky Thalmor. Rakis owes you his life. He wishes he had something of value to give you for saving him. The Dev Aveza! Yes, Rakis insists. It is yours now. There is...
You're back. Wonderful. I managed to make a rather good deal with one of my vendors for a rare artifact. He had no idea what it was, so I got it for a song. Don't worry, he's not one of my better vendors. Here, have a look, and place it on display if you like. You're back! Wonderful!
Can I kiss you? Hey, I have something for you.
What did you want to give me?
Sort of a luck talisman. I might not be a silversmith, but I'm pretty handy when it comes to scrimshaw. And since I had you in mind when I made it.
You carved this for me?
From some bone of the last dragon we brought down. Bit harder to work than a hawker tusk, but means it'll last a long while.
It's beautiful, I love it.
Well, I made it for you after all. You're the only...
The only what?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
You've said that before, I know it's not nothing.
You do, eh? Well, keep digging there. You might make it to Akavir.
Is something bothering you?
What? Oh, excuse me, mind was elsewhere.
You've been distracted.
Can you blame me? You've been on my mind all day. I've never wanted someone so much in my life.
You're insatiable, you know that.
Oh, I know. I know I'm at the hunger, aren't I? Though it's more than just that.
What do you mean?
When I say I want you, it's more than just tasting your lips, or feeling your skin against mine. It's... what do I want to say? I never was too good at talking about matters of the heart and all.
You can tell me anything, you know?
That's just it. I think I can tell you anything. I've never known anyone I can trust so much. Or had anyone become so precious to me. Each morning I wake up, my first thought is of you, and I get this hope I've never had before. Maybe I shouldn't go on.
Please say what you were going to.
Dragonborn, I'm in love with you.
Should I take that as a good sign?
Well, it's not a bad one.
Then kiss me again, and I might be satisfied.
What can I do for you?
I'm curious. What thoughts were running through your mind when we first met?
When you rescued me from that prison, the first thing I thought when I saw you, I thought it was my time, and I thought that I was going to die.
I understand, Kai. You thought I was one of them at first, but then later...
You were too beautiful an image to come upon me so suddenly in that dark, cursed place as you did.
I don't know what to say to that, except I'm glad our paths crossed that day.
Yes, well, I feel the same.
Hello there, lass.
Was there something you wanted to ask, Kai?
Aye, actually there was. Knock knock.
Seriously?
I'm just trying to spice things up a bit. Besides, aren't you at least a bit curious? Come on, love. Knock knock.
Fine. Who's there?
Forget my name already? Bit surprising how many times I heard you screaming it last night. Looks like tonight I'll have to try harder, eh?
How do you feel about me?
It's funny. I never really thought about love. Falling in love. Being in love. Now I just can't imagine my life without loving you. And having you by my side.
Let's rest here.
I'll find something to do. Let me know when we're ready to go.
What do you need?
Let's talk.
All right.
I had a sexy dream about you last night.
You had a sexy dream about me, eh? Was it nice? Pray do tell.
I did, but it wasn't so good, no.
Well, shit, I can make up for it right now. You need only ask and I'm ready for action, love.
Sleep wasn't what I was thinking of.
Well, I'm not sure we'll make it as far as the bed at this rate. Let me know when you're ready to go.
Edwina's note. When the world was young, things were simpler. It was us or them. We fought to survive, and in death we found glory. Now we fight our own shield sisters and brothers for banners that change with the wind. When I killed Hjarek on the battlefield, I vowed not to take up arms again. I found honor in this choice, but shame in its consequence. The bards do not sing tales of those who die in their homes, slain by time. If I am to see him again, I must stand eye to eye with Tun on the Whalebone Bridge and earn my place in the Hall of Valor. I miss you, brother. Wait for me in Sovngarde. Letter from Edward. My dearest sister Erwin, I see your way with words remains as elegant as a falling boulder. I am indeed alive, and no, I haven't forgotten my promise to you, which I remind you again was never literal. You see, when someone says, "You'll be the death of me," it's not an invitation to murder. It's more of a loving expression of one's exasperation. But I know nuance has never been your strong suit. I must warn you, however, that correspondence like this endangers us both, so if you truly wish to keep this promise, it's best you don't respond. When the time is right, I will come to you. Oh, and be kind to our merchant friend Gunther, will you? Consider him my gift to you, along with this book on our past life. I'm sure you know by now, but it seems one of us has taken to writing about our adventures. I assure you, it isn't me. But I'm glad his depiction of you is as honest as you are incorrigible. Edward. Scorched Journal. If found, please return to Raka Stonehands, Troubadour. 4E133 Morning Star. It feels strange and a bit unsettling to record my thoughts in this new volume rather than my cherished folio. The rock slide that swallowed my trusty backpack also claimed a portion of my memories and some pieces of my past in that worn book. That it disappeared while studying ancient and obscure history is a most bitter irony not lost on me. Still, there's nothing to be done about it, save begin anew. 4E134 Morning Star. It appears that I left Riften not a moment too soon. From the scattered bits of news from other travelers, it appears the city has burned to the ground. I guess I shan't be going back there for a while. Just as well if some of the residents had taken an unhealthy interest in me. Criticism of one's writing and performance were to be expected, but some became far too easily outraged. You'd think, for all the ceremony that Norns place upon fisticuffs as a venerated tradition to settle differences, that they would have accepted their losses with more grace. But apparently not. So much for the honor of the Nords. Serendipitously, there was some buzz in the marketplace about ruins near Stone Hills that sounded most intriguing. So the timing to depart without fanfare could not have been better, and indeed fortuitous, or I might have been numbered in those caught in the blaze. Well, one more day's travel should see me at those ruins. 4E13022 Morning Star. I feel a bit guilty for not having written in a while, but in truth there's been little beyond drudge work to report. I suppose I should be annoyed that the fragments I spent weeks deciphering amounted to little more than the tally for a year's harvest of cabbage. But there is a certain humor for all of that, though it may not lend itself to clever prose for the retelling. Oh, in the morning I will travel to Morthal and reprovision, skipping on cabbage for the nonce, and of course ply the gossips and murmurs. 4E13025 Morning Star. My hangover heralds the revels of last night, although the innkeeper laughingly told me the lout I laid out probably has a worse headache than I do. I spent a fuzzy morning in the inn sipping water and broth, catching up on correspondence, and listening to off-duty guards. One of them told me of a curious curved wall covered in strange writing atop a hill the locals call Sheer Point. Apparently people shun the place and assign it a dark and evil past, though they know little more. It is prudent to pay at least passing attention to such tales, for they almost always hold a glimmer of truth, and the seeds for good stories. From her recount, I feel the tickle of excitement and confidence. This site merits a closer look. I'm finally feeling myself, and shall set off in the morning. 4E130, 26 Morning Star. A late start has left me a few hours short of Sheer Point, and I shall reluctantly have to make camp and give way to the wind and light. The odd wall the guard described is just visible in the distance, exposed on the hilltop and barren. Due to its remote location, I suspect the dire stories persist only because there is little to draw people to the site. Or they would see for themselves their old tales without substance, but I shall certainly have a closer look in the morning. Orion's notes on Orgnum and the Maumr. King Orgnum was, and could very well still be to this day, the grand ruler of the Maumr people, an ancient cousin of the elves of Somerset Isle, long banished beyond Pyandonia, the Vale of Mist, for his repeated attempts at conquering the Somerset Isles. Orgnum is supposedly immortal, growing more youthful by the ages, though his greatest claim to fame was his boundless coffer, which yields pure gold from nothingness. I surmise that this boundless wealth in fact utilizes the ethereal transportational powers that both the Snow Elves and the Ayleids seem to have employed in their culture, allowing Orgnum to reach through a portal and seize a handful of gold from some other location. Due to the seemingly random nature of the game, I would theorize that these magical rifts would open within the coffer and vaults of other wealthy individuals, perhaps his own enemies, perhaps somewhere totally random. The coffer was last noted as being in the possession of the Eternal Champion of the era of the Imperial Simulacrum, and all note of the coffer fell into legend and was forgotten thereafter, though I have found references that after the Eternal Champion ended their days of adventure, quite wealthy as a result of the coffer and other boons of their fame, they may have sealed the coffer away here in Skyrim, protected by an ancient evil so as to ward off any who would seek its absurd wealth. Perhaps it lies with the remains of a dragon priest. It would be quite a dangerous undertaking, one I do not intend to ever venture upon, but it would be curious to find out its fate. Irwin's journal. My new friend Gunther and I are getting along quite well. The other bandits are already getting jealous. He really was a fine gift. I should thank my brother Edward before I slit his throat. The thing I like best about my good friend Gunther, he can keep a secret. I tell him all sorts of juicy tidbits and he never says a thing. It reminds me of my old companion, Skjold, and the time we nearly got murdered by a Daedric cult. There was a ton of good loot in that place. Haunted artifacts, blood sacrifices, things that make lesser men want to hug their priest. Nothing that would frighten off Gunther, though. He's quite stoic, sitting in his chair. On top of that, he gets along with everyone. It doesn't matter if they're short people, fat people, tall people, or cat people. That's the thing about my old friend Gunther. He doesn't judge. Anyway, when I got to Skyrim, I sold most of the loot we piled up over the years, seeing as wanted men have to travel light. The heaviest piece I sold was a set of Daedric mail to a caravan Khajiit named Madran. I like that armor, but in the end, I had no choice but to get rid of her. She knows what she did. Besides, if I wanted to get her back, I could always trade something of equal value, like the Ring of Master I ripped off the merchant at Crescent Moon's Inn way back when. Me and the furballs, we have history. The ring is worth at least 2 sets of armor or 20 pairs of boots. It can fortify your illusion magic, just like the book says. The books get a lot right, even the parts about me, except I'm much prettier and taller in real life. Either way, I don't need to cast spells to run this new crew, so I'll let my best friend Gunther wear the ring. I think it looks real good on him. Zenemia's Journal, Volume 1. Managed to come across a curious set of ancient schematics for the storeroom near Mizolft, which has a chamber roughly rubbed off the chart, as if an extra chamber was present but hidden. Based on the chart, it looks like the chamber's on the south end of the storeroom.
Notes on Ingle Barrow. Scholar's transcription of ancient Nord writings in a Skyrim barrow. What a peculiar place the barrow turned out to be. I hadn't explored for very long before reaching this elaborate room and gate locking me from going further into the crypt. I confess it, I'm relieved. This place puts the fear of oblivion into me. There are some carvings in this room. I'll attempt to transcribe them for the college, so I have something to show for this effort. All was so in Atmora, land of truth and our home. Man in his throne, so should he be. Whale in the sea, so should he be. Eagle in sun sky, so should he be. Snake in the weed, so should he be. Sorrow, for the sea ghosts took Ingol, prize brother of sail from Atmora's fleet, and none on land, nor sky, nor sea would ever again be as should be. Fascinating, these ancient Nords. I wonder what other secrets are hidden here. Surely there can't be harm in trying to go a little further, and there is a lever here, which must open the gate beyond. Expedition Manifest by Sulla Trebatius. A basic rundown of the Off-Tand expedition camp and its occupants. We've managed to secure the site and hold off any others who may try to steal our discoveries so far, especially those from the College of Winterhold, who seem to think the glory of exploring every ruin should be theirs alone. The crew for our expedition is as follows: Sulla Trebatius, myself, expedition leader; Umana, my constant companion and bodyguard; Veli, a mage not associated with Winterhold, took some time to find one; and Drast, a fellow explorer of some local renown; Yag, a great brute of a woman, hired to keep the rest of the labor in check; Jadar and Jizar, two Khajiit brothers, hired as labor. Need a couple more laborers. Getting through the ice is proving difficult. We've set up shelter and scouted the area. The small ruins on the lower plateau of the glacier don't seem connected to the main structure. We haven't managed to find a way into the tower parapet we found here. Yag mentioned spotting a fissure in a glacial wall that may lead to the ruins, so we're going to try to find a way to get down there with the gear. Looks like a storm is coming. Biography of Baron Zaya, Volume 2, by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. A factual biography of Queen Baron Zaya, Volume 2. The first volume of this series told the story of Baron Zaya's origin, heiress to the throne of Mournhold until her father rebelled against His Excellency Tiber Septim I and brought ruin to the province of Morrowind. Thanks largely to the benevolence of the Emperor, the child Baron Zaya was not destroyed with her parents, but reared by Count Sven of Darkmoor, a loyal imperial trustee. She grew up into a beautiful and pious child, trustful of her guardian's care. This trust, however, was exploited by a wicked orphan stable boy at Count Sven's estate, who with lies and fabrications tricked her into fleeing Darkmoor with him when she turned 16. After many adventures on the road, they settled in Riften, a Skyrim city near the Morrowind borders. The stable boy, Straw, was not altogether evil. He loved Baron Zaya in his own selfish fashion, and deception was the only way he could think of that would cement possession of her. She, of course, felt only friendship towards him, but he was hopeful that she would gradually change her mind. He wanted to buy a small farm and settle down into a comfortable marriage, but at the time his earnings were barely enough to feed and shelter them. After only a short time in Riften, Straw fell in with a bold, villainous Khajiit thief named Theris, who proposed that they rob the Imperial Commandant's house in the central part of the city. Theris said that he had a client, a traitor to the Empire, who would pay well for any information they could gather there. Baron Zaya happened to overhear this plan and was appalled. She stole away from their rooms and walked the streets of Riften in desperation, torn between her loyalty to the Empire and her love for her friends. In the end, loyalty to the Empire prevailed over personal friendship, and she approached the Commandant's house, revealed her true identity, and warned him of her friend's plan. The Commandant listened to her tale, praised her courage, and assured her that no harm would come to her. He was none other than General Symmachus, who had been scouring the countryside in search of her since her disappearance, and had just arrived in Riften, hot in pursuit. He took her into his custody, and informed her that, far from being sent away to be sold, she was to be reinstated as the Queen of Mournhold as soon as she turned 18. Until that time, she was to live with the Septim family in the newly built Imperial City, where she would learn something of government and be presented at the Imperial Court. At the Imperial City, Baron Zaya befriended the Emperor Tiber Septim during the middle years of his reign. Tiber's children, particularly his eldest son and heir Pelagius, came to love her as a sister. The ballads of the day praised her beauty, chastity, wit, and learning. On her 18th birthday, the entire Imperial City turned out to watch her farewell procession preliminary to her return to her native land. Sorrowful as they were at her departure, all knew that she was ready for her glorious destiny as sovereign of the Kingdom of Mournhold. Biography of Baron Zaya, Volume 3, by Stern Gamboge, Imperial Scribe. A factual biography of Queen Baron Zaya, Volume 3. In the second volume of this series, it was told how Baron Zaya was kindly welcomed to the newly constructed Imperial City by the Emperor Tiber Septim and his family, who treated her like a long-lost daughter during her almost one-year stay. After several happy months there, learning her duties as vassal queen under the Empire, the Imperial General Symmachus escorted her to Mournhold, where she took up her duties as queen of her people under his wise guidance. Gradually, they came to love one another, and were married and crowned in a splendid ceremony at which the Emperor himself officiated. After several hundred years of marriage, a son, Helseth, was born to the royal couple amid celebration and joyous prayer. Although it was not publicly known at the time, it was shortly before this blessed event that the Staff of Chaos had been stolen from its hiding place deep in the Mournhold mines by a clever, enigmatic bard known only as the Nightingale. 8 years after Helseth's birth, Baranziah bore a daughter, Morgaya, named after Symmachus's mother, and the royal couple's joy seemed complete. Alas, shortly after that, relations with the Empire mysteriously deteriorated, leading to much civil unrest in Mournhold. After fruitless investigations and attempts at reconciliation, in despair, Baranziah took her young children and traveled to the imperial city herself to seek the ear of then-Emperor Uriel Septim VII. Symmachus remained in Mournhold to deal with the grumbling peasants and annoyed nobility, and to do what he could to stave off an impending imperial insurrection. During her audience with the Emperor, Baranziah, through her magical arts, came to realize to her horror and dismay that the so-called Emperor was an impostor, none other than the bard Nightingale who had stolen the Staff of Chaos. Exercising great self-control, she concealed this realization from him. That evening, news came that Symmachus had fallen in battle with the revolting peasants of Mournhold, and that the kingdom had been taken over by the rebels. Baranziah at this point did not know where to seek help or from whom. The gods, that fateful night, were evidently looking out for her, as if in redress of her loss. King Edwir of High Rock, an old friend of Uriel Septim and Symmachus, came by on a social call. He comforted her, pledged his friendship, and furthermore, confirmed her suspicions that the Emperor was indeed a fraud, and none other than Jaeger Tharn, the Imperial battle mage, and one of the Nightingale's many alter egos. Tharn had supposedly retired into seclusion from public work and installed his assistant, Rhea Silmain, in his stead. The hapless assistant was later put to death under mysterious circumstances. Supposedly, a plot implicating her had been uncovered, and she had been summarily executed. However, her ghost had appeared to Edwir in a dream and revealed to him that the true Emperor had been kidnapped by Tharn and imprisoned in an alternate dimension. Tharn had then used the Staff of Chaos to kill her when she attempted to warn the Elder Council of his nefarious plot. Together, Edwir and Baranziah plotted to gain the false Emperor's confidence. Meanwhile, another friend of Rhea's, known only as the Champion, who apparently possessed great, albeit then untapped, potential, was incarcerated at the Imperial dungeons. However, she had access to his dreams, and she told him to bide his time until she could devise a plan that would effect his escape. Then he could begin on his mission to unmask the impostor. Baranziah continued to charm, and eventually befriend, the ersatz Emperor. By contriving to read his secret diary, she learned that he had broken the Staff of Chaos into 8 pieces and hidden them in far-flung locations scattered across Tamriel. She managed to obtain a copy of the key to Rhea's friend's cell and bribed a guard to leave it there as if by accident. Their champion, whose name was unknown even to Baranziah and Edwir, made his escape through a shift gate Rhea had opened in an obscure corner of the Imperial dungeons, using her already failing powers. The champion was free at last, and almost immediately went to work. It took Baranziah several more months to learn the hiding places of all 8 staff pieces, through snatches of overheard conversation and rare glances at Tharn's diary. Once she had the vital information, however, which she communicated to Rhea forthwith, who in turn passed it on to the champion, she and Edwir lost no time. They fled to Wayrest, his ancestral kingdom in the province of High Rock, where they managed to fend off the sporadic efforts of Tharn's henchmen to haul them back to the Imperial city, or at the very least, obtain revenge. Tharn, whatever else might be said of him, was no one's fool, save perhaps Baranziah's, and he concentrated most of his efforts toward tracking down and destroying the champion. As all now know, the courageous, indefatigable, and forever nameless champion was successful in reuniting the 8 sundered pieces of the Staff of Chaos. With it, he destroyed Tharn and rescued the true Emperor, Uriel Septim VII. Following what has come to be known as the Restoration, a grand state memorial service was held for Symmachus at the Imperial city, befitting the man who had served the Septim dynasty for so long and so well. Baron Zaya and good King Edwyr had come to care deeply for one another during their trials and adventures, and were married in the same year shortly after their flight from the imperial city. Her 2 children from her previous marriage with Symmachus remained with her, and a regent was appointed to rule Mournhold in her absence. Up to the present time, Queen Baron Zaya has been in Wayrest with Prince Helseth and Princess Morgaya. She plans to return to Mournhold after Edwyr's death. Since he was already elderly when they wed, she knows that that event, alas, could not be far off as the elves reckon time. Until then, she shares in the government of the Kingdom of Wayrest with her husband, and seems glad and content with her finally quiet and happily unremarkable life.